Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm out here in the garage again, doing my little pre-planning thing. But as it turns out, it's not a Wednesday night this time. No, it's a Monday night. I won't bore you with the details of why it's a Monday and not a Wednesday. The schedule's all wonky, but I'm out here in the garage and I came out here to kind of look at my gas tank a little bit and wonder if I'm ready to open up that can of tubes again, or that box of tubes, and look at that tubing stuff. Or, as it turns out, the UPS guy brought us some stuff today, so I think the funner thing will be to do is set you down for a minute and let's open up a box of goodies and see what we got. So bear with me, I'll set you down, we'll get that set up, and we'll open up our box and see what kind of cool stuff we got today. Okay, so there you have it. A box full of stuff from Energy Suspensions, all black. They're black polyurethane instead of red that I wanted. But at least I got some parts and I can keep the process moving along. And these were critical ones because these, I can't get my differentials back under there without my bushings and so forth. So these were big deals. I know it's not a very big box and it wasn't too cool to look at, but it's a big thing. I did check on my fuel line from Morris 4x4. I had to reach out to their customer service folks again because I ordered that and it says it shipped. It's not here. I got the return line, I got the brake lines, I did not get that fuel supply line. So those guys at Morris 4x4, I gotta tell you, I'm kind of losing confidence in them a little bit and I'm not sure I'm gonna continue to order my stuff there. There's a couple things I don't like. First of all, their website doesn't really tell you if something's in stock when you're trying to order, and that's pain. I mean, we're at this day and age, everybody's site ought to be able to tell you what's in inventory so you know if you're going to get it, especially when you're kind of working on a project that's got some timelines here. You know, you're trying to figure out what should I order right now so that I can keep the thing moving along and maybe, you know, put off some of the other stuff I don't need right away. Second, I haven't found a way yet to track down my own tracking numbers on their stuff. It just says it's shipped and they're not listing tracking numbers and they're not emailing me with tracking numbers. Now that's not how you do it this day and age. I mean, you know your tracking number when you shipped it, why don't you send that to your customer? So unfortunately those guys may have lost the bulk of my business on this thing. I might be shopping elsewhere first. And I did look at Quadratech. I think it's Quadratech's website today. They do show me what's in stock. I think I've ordered some stuff from them before, and off we go. It might be who I buy the bulk of my stuff from. Which, Morris 4x4 guys, if you happen to watch this, please take that as constructive criticism, man. There's a couple of major things you're missing here. I don't know, if you realize it, but when someone starts a restoration project, they're going to spend some money with you. But if you get the typical guy like me doing a restoration, you know, you're trying to kind of line things out and go, okay, I need suspension parts now, and then I need fuel parts, and then I'm going to need electrical parts and so forth. But I don't just want to order all at once and have a big garage full of a pile of parts, you know, stuff getting lost and whatnot. But you got to help me keep this thing under control. So if you guys are watching, you're falling down a little bit on some of these things. That every vendor I work with, and I have a computer business, so I buy a lot of stuff. Every other vendor I work with, I get tracking numbers. I know if they have stuff in stock when I order it. You know, I'm just informed, which helps me keep projects rolling. So take that for what it's worth, you guys. But unfortunately, I may have lost my business, so I may be taking it elsewhere. Anyway, I will wrap this up for now. And about the next thing you see, I'll be out here trying to figure out if I can really start to get the Jeep back on its wheels and get these differentials back underneath it. And then I think I'm really going to figure out if I'm going to do the rear brake conversion over to disc brakes on the back, or if not, I do know that my brakes need some work in there on the rear drums. And then I will pull the front axles out of the housing, I believe, and I think that's what you need to do those ball joints. So big projects coming. These won't be, you know, quite as elaborate as painting this thing and getting it all sanded down and stuff, but big stuff coming. So I'll leave it here for now, and I'll see you next time around. Okay, well, I'm out here in the garage again, and I'm just going to do a little kind of test fitting of some of this stuff. So I've gone through the energy suspension box, and there's a parts list in there of everything we got. Some of it is duplicates because when I bought my greasable shackles, obviously I got bushings with those, but I'm going to spin you around here and show you what I'm going to do. So this is one of my greasable shackles. So this is just the spacer pin in the center, and then you can see I've got these kind of opened up. So I'm going to take these off, and this is my rear spring hanger. So this is basically going to fit in there like that, and then this part will go through the eye of the spring. So I'm just going to do a little test fit of that, and I'm going to make sure I know which bushings go into the big hole of the spring, and just make sure everything's all good to go. Then I just need to get in the box and dig out some bolts and get ready to start kind of bolting these back to the frame rails, and then I can start to get ready to hang springs. So I'm going to set you down for a minute and mess around with this, and we'll see how she looks. Well, that would have worked so much easier if my bushings would have been red and not black. So anyway, no, that went okay. Everything's a little tight, but you expect it to be. So So that is really how that's going to go back together, and that should be just fine. So yeah, I'm not sure I've seen any issues so far. So again, I will just figure out which bushing goes in the big eye of my springs now, and then dig out some bolts. And I think once I get ready, not sure I'm going to get it tonight, but once I'm ready to get those spring hangers bolted back up to the frame rails, then ready to hang springs again. So I did order some replacement bolts from those stainless steel guys, and those shipped, so those may be here by Friday, which will be good. That's what I need for some of these. I'm trying to not reuse gnarly old bolts if I can help it. Some of them you have no choice. Well, you do, but I mean, it's tough to track down grade 8 bolts and, you know, high strength stuff and so forth in all the right sizes. I had ordered a kit from, again, sorry Morris 4x4 guys, but I ordered a kit from them that is like every set of different bolts you need for a Jeep, you know, all in separate settings, and they were talking about not getting that till June or something, so I canceled that. So yeah, but there you have it. So cruising along, I'll keep going here for a minute. Okay, so just in the interest of saving you some grief, if you're following along or you're doing this with your own Jeep, this is the rear spring axle or spring hanger, and this is the front. So you can see there's a difference between the two hangers here in width to match up with these difference in thickness of both the hangers themselves and the springs. So I don't know how apparent it will be, but these are the front springs, these are the back springs. You can see these are wider than these. So as you're looking at those hangers, obviously you don't want to mix those up. You'll notice it pretty quick, like I just did when I was kind of mocking up that first one. I had put the shackle hanger on the rear spring hanger, the wider one, and the little spacer here in the center was doing that. It wasn't the right, you know, I was like way apart like this, and this was sliding back and forth when it should have been tight like that with my hanger in there. So you can see with the thickness of your bushings on the side, this is going to work properly for the back hangers. This is going to work properly for the front hangers. So there is a difference, and just need to pay attention to that when you're working on it. I recall now, and in fact it shows on the box, that you're ordering, you know, you order 2 front hangers and 2 rear hangers. So, you know, the vendor gets it and you'll get it as soon as you start working with them. But I just thought I'd share that with you because it just dawned on me as I was working on this one, kind of putting it together. I was like, wait a second, why is that spacer in the middle too narrow? And all of a sudden the light came on and I was like, I know why, because they're different widths. So there you have it, little pearl of wisdom for you. You can thank me later. Okay, well, cruising right along here, I have the spring hangers back on, so that's those right there. Now, lest you're worried about this gap here, don't worry, because you'll recall there's a bracket that goes on here and another on the inside that supports the back bumper or bumper connection points here. So what I have right now is I have one bolt just loosely through here, but I'm going to take this end off and I'm going to assemble from the back end. So I've got this all disassembled, and there's a little tube of grease that comes with this. So you put a little bit of grease on your bolt, and I would presume you put a little on the outside here where it's going to go into the spring shackle eye there, and then put her back together. Now, here's another little tip. So if you're working in a garage, you have another vehicle parked next to you, and you would like to find the geographical center of that vehicle, simply drop one of these rolly little things and give it a second, and it will roll to the exact geographic center of that vehicle, guaranteed. And then you'll know right where it is because it will be in the most unreachable point possible. So there's that little helpful tip. If you ever need to find the center of your car, just drop something that rolls and let it roll, and it will roll right to the center of the vehicle. So I'll check back when I have some more assembly done here. Okay, well, I just thought I'd check in with you. I have one side hung from the rear here. So the energy suspension guys send you this little tube of grease. It's unlike any grease I've ever seen before. It's clear. Well, I'll show you what it looks like. It's white. It's very sticky, very thick, but you put a little bit on the bushing, and then the bushing goes right into the spring hanger. Same with the bushing into the spring eyelet here. So it takes a very little bit of that grease. You just put a little tiny bit around it, and it squeegees it to the end. And then I put some on the bolt, and I was able to really just push the bolt through there, even though it's a pretty tight push. But you can unscrew the grease fitting, the grease zert here, and use a rubber mallet to just kind of tap that through. Makes it go a little bit easier, and then you can just put your fitting back in when you're done. Those will have to be tightened down. So I do not have these tightened down yet, but the hangers are tight, so this is fairly loose. Now you can see I've got my front end here not attached yet. What I'm going to do once I have both of them hanging from the back is I will lift the frame up a little bit, run my differential back in from the side, and come over these, and then hang, bring it up to meet the differential and get me hung up there, and then up on the front. And that's how I'll put it back together. So that did not go so bad. Just took a few minutes to kind of get it all assembled back in there. So use that grease sparingly. I mean, you just need a tiny little bit, and it just, like I said, as you're pushing it in, it squeegees it back along the length of the thing. And it's slow going. Like if you're just pushing the bolt in by hand, you just have to sit and push on it, but it just sliding through there, gently sliding through. It's just there's some resistance. So yeah, that went just fine. So I'll do the other side, and then that'll probably about get it for now. I'm going to go find me, these are the bolts that go through the front spring hanger up here, and they've all seen better days. So most of them were rusty and gnarly, and a couple of those were the ones I had to cut off with the grinding wheel. So I'll have to find me some bolts before I get the differential really back in there. But yep, there we go. That's what she looks like as she's starting to come back together with the leaf springs at least back there. So we're off and running on getting it suspended on its own suspension again. Well, and just like that, I've got both springs hung from the back. And obviously my bolts here are not tightened down. Those are just in there, just hand tight for now. But I wanted to leave that loose until I get the springs or the differential back in and everything hung, and then I'll tighten everything up. I'll probably put a little anti-seize compound on those as well. But that's a night's work done. Springs are hanging from the back, ready for the differential to be rolled back in place. So that'll be the next big step here. And I don't think I'm going to get that done tonight. So I'll see you next time around.